Hello, YouTube and Twitch. Welcome to Jokes Explained Live Rumble Edition. That's a fast turnaround on the countdown. Hey guys, how about that? Give you 5 seconds to get everything together and get ready to play some Gutfeld Bingo. How are you all doing in the chat? How are you doing tonight? That's the proper comedian thing to say. How are you guys doing tonight? Got 8 so far on YouTube. Nobody on Twitch. Make sure if you're on Twitch, you sign up for bingo. You got about 9 minutes left to get into the bingo cards. Hey, Ole is here. Welcome, Ole. Thank you for saying something. I was a bit scared that I had streamed into the wrong country. Maybe just streaming into Azerbaijan by accident. It's been a heck of a week this week. We had a great stream on Friday. We went to Crystalia, and that was really awesome going through Crystalia and talking about his latest special Grow or Die. We had a really successful stream, lots of donations. I took all that donation money and I invested it in the stock market, and it has been it's been a real rough patch the last few days. So I had faith that tariffing the world would create jobs, which would make the stock market go up, but I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot in the past few days, but you know what? Sometimes when you lose a lot, you just gotta laugh. You have to think about what happened, think about why it's actually funny, and just laugh. That's sort of the joke explainer philosophy. Because the world is made of jokes, and you just have to find the jokes. And when you find the jokes and you laugh, then everything's fine again. Hollow Point says, nothing funnier than losing money. Absolutely agree. There really isn't. It's because sometimes, you just losing so much money kind of gives you it makes you a little bit giggly. Because having money can create pressure, and when there's no more money, the pressure is all gone, and you just have to laugh. Jonah Farrell says, anyone else from Houston? I don't know why. Are you from Houston, Jonah? That's gotta be near Austin. Why don't you just move to Austin? Because that's where everybody lives. We're gonna get started on this stream with while we get the bingo going. Because I've lost so much money, I've been thinking about how I could make money again. And so we're gonna take a look at a guy on Rumble. He's very popular on Rumble, and he's probably one of the not only most successful people on Rumble, but he's probably one of the most successful people in the world at this point. So how you guys can have a guess at who it is in your heads for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I'm going to reveal the most successful man in the world. Here he is. This guy has made a lot of money, and he offers a lot of ideas on how to make lots of money. This is just a little 2-minute video about how to get super rich. His name is Andrew Tate. And I don't know if he's funny. I think he's just a straight up money maker. He might be winning too much to have time to write jokes. But let's take a little peeky at him here. First of all, before I even start, this guy's he's going to offer some advice how to get rich. If you guys have ever lit up a cigar on an airplane, and they ask you to put it out, and you put it out, that's a bitch move, right? If you're smoking on an airplane and they say, put out your fat cigar, you tell them no, and then you slap them on the ass and say, go get me some Dogecoin, right? That's what winners do. Just some advice. You guys can write this down. But anyway, so here he is. It looks like a private plane. private cigar plane so he can just smoke it up. The pilots, I think, have to sign off the fact that they can fly through the haze in the cockpit. But yeah, this is a private plane. The guy's a big winner. He uses his plane to fly to business meetings and also to flee. So pretty cool to have that at your disposal. Let's see what he has to say here.
I said to my friends while we were walking, how does this man...
There he is on the plane there. I don't know how they got the GoPro on the wing for this shot, but that's pretty cool. There he is smoking a big ciggy. And don't forget, now, we've been through this on the channel before. Straws are gay, okay, but cigars are straight. And you might be thinking, well, Myles, that doesn't make sense because straws, you know, they're gay because they look like penises. But what looks more like a penis than a cigar? Well, see, it's different, right? Because the cigar gradually disappears, right? It's like while you smoke it, even though it looks like a penis to start, it goes away, which is like you saying, here's a penis, and I'm going to make this penis go away because I'm not gay. So I'm glad I could explain that for you guys.
But I was walking to college with 3 of my friends and a guy burnt past in a red Ferrari. And I said to my friends while we were walking, how does this man have 300,000 pounds for a car when none of our families even have cars? Back then, the world was different.
Yes, yes. So pivotal moment for Andrew Tate here. A lot of people don't realize it's important when you're wealthy to get in your Ferrari and take a rip through the poor neighborhood. It motivates poor people to work hard, right? Poor people are basically lazy idiots, and you gotta flash that cash. You gotta flex a Rolex. You know, this is what people don't understand. Poor people need motivation. If they don't see money, they don't know how that they can make it, right?
It wasn't like it is now. When I was 16, you didn't see money. I didn't see money. I didn't have the internet. I didn't see private jets. I didn't know Monaco. I didn't know Saint-Tropez was a place. I didn't know about girls on yachts.
I didn't know about girls on yachts. Could you imagine? Could you imagine living your whole life without knowing there's girls on yachts? Could you imagine what that would be like? What an unfulfilling life. Oh, man. Dongo Manu says, I'm getting kind of sick of the people in my city who aren't rich. Just stop being poor for fuck's sake. It's so annoying. Yeah, preach, man. It's like, get yourself a cigar. Get yourself an airplane. It's just so basic. I don't know why people aren't doing this. But yeah, it's true. I don't know how if you guys feel like this, but I know when I go on the internet and I see really wealthy people doing well, I get motivated to make money, right? I get up and I just start fucking selling stuff. Shameless Replay donated $5 on YouTube. Thank you so much. Nothing manlier than sucking on a big long brown cigar for hours on end. Yes. This is what I'm talking about. Shameless Replay, you get it. Thank you for your donation. Shameless Replay, I imagine, is sucking on a big cigar right now from their private jet, watching this stream while they fly to Saint-Tropez to go see some girls on yachts. Hell yeah. Thanks for sharing a little bit of your success with me.
I didn't know about anything. I'm growing up in England completely flat broke.
There he is.
And the first time I had access visually to money, I knew I couldn't live as a second-class citizen any longer.
Yeah.
I make all of this clear to people, and I say that money is a competency test. You simply need to want it. If you want it, you're going to get it. But you're not going to get anything in this life you do not want.
Yes. Oh my God, so true, guys. You have to want money. This is what's so crazy about poor people. You know, you meet them and they don't even want money, it seems like. It's like, why are you just living poor the whole time, right? Oh, it's quite sad. Yes, you know what? This has inspired me. I'm going to take your guys' donation money. I'm going to go down to the Bugatti dealership, and I'm going to get in that car. I'm going to drive it down to where the poors live, And I'm just gonna idle that car in front of him for a while, and I'm just gonna smoke a cigar, and I'm just gonna nod at him like, "You want this? You gotta want it, baby."
The cocaine-addicted hooker addict wants money for cocaine and hookers. That's
Yes.
why he's richer than you. The crack addict needs money for crack. That's how he manages to get some new money every fucking day with no job. You don't want it enough. If you want to get rich, I absolutely guarantee you will get rich.
Yes.
If you are serious about learning how to make money online, you can learn how to do that at university.com, and we will teach you. You have the entire
University.com. Andrew Tate owns University.com. That's incredible. That's a great domain name for someone who wants to learn.
fucking world at your fingertips, and you're still not motivated, and you still don't care enough, and you're still not prepared to try something new. You think you're working hard because you do your job every day. You're actually extremely lazy, because you do your job every day because you don't want to think outside the box.
Yep.
You're so lazy, you
Yep.
would rather work all day every day than
Amen.
think of a new idea or try something new, because a brand new idea will be given to you. A roadmap will be given to you. The path to the Ferrari will be laid out before you. All you have to do is walk it, and you can get the map.
Path to the Ferrari. Brian, I think we got a new name for our donation ticker down there. I think we're just going to rename it Path to the Ferrari.
At university.com.
University.com, guys. That's it. University.com. Great advice. Great advice from a great business comedian. Look into it. Brian, can we get the rights to university.net? And can we get a Path to Ferrari ticker at the bottom of the screen for next time? Thanks so much. Guys, we got some bingo. We got some bingo ready. Let me check the bingo ticker. What we got? We got 11 players. Not bad. A little bit of Gutfeld bingo coming up. Let's get the news of the week coming in here from Gutfeld. And we're back. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this right. Here we go. Boom. Before we even start, what's the first joke on Gutfeld gonna be? What's the first joke gonna be? Gutfeld. Oh man, there's a lot of tariff talk, right? Who is related to tariffs? I bet because Joe Biden's economy was so weak, we're gonna be doing a Joe Biden joke off the top of the show. Yes. 3, 2, 5, 6. We got lots to takers for Biden. Super Garble says Justin Trudeau. Oh, that would be out of left field. Best show of the month.
All right. Control yourselves, or I'll have to ask you to come over. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Inside joke there, I think.
So today is April Fool's Day. It's when I tell my writers they're getting a huge bonus.
Get him.
The White House is cutting down a 200-year-old tree that was planted by Andrew Jackson. Spectators were horrified when it turned out to be John Kerry.
John Kerry. You guys. A John Kerry joke? Oh my God. What? This is why you watch Gutfeld, right? Because you're like, you know it's going to be someone from 25 years ago, but you don't know who it's going to be. And John Kerry comes flying out of nowhere like a Ferrari in a poor neighborhood. The John Kerry joke just comes burning down the road. God, that was crazy. I guess I'll explain why it's funny. This is a joke about being old. So I don't know if that's in the bingo card here. Yes, number 46. Very good. And Andrew Jackson is a funny character because he's one of the top most crazy presidents of all time. So pretty wacky president. Great stuff.
accidents will happen. On Sunday night, President Trump deported more gang members to El Salvador, including child rapists and convicted killers. It's all part of a bigger plan to make El Salvador more like Times Square.
Yeah, New York fucking sucks. Do we have New York sucks in there? We do a lot of New York sucks. New York, other Democratic hellholes. They should be on the list as well, but I don't know if there's one in there. I'll check the chat, but the joke obviously is that Times Square is full of pedophiles, and you can see it just by looking at this image. I can see at least 10. I don't know if you guys can see them, but I can see the pedophiles right there. Pretty standard.
True, you know. President Trump says he invited longtime critic Bill Maher to the White House as a favor to his buddy, Kid Rock. Kid Rock returned the favor by showering.
Kid Rock is smelly.
Oh,
So it's a Kid Rock is smelly joke. So it's like it's funny when, to make fun of a guy like this, because they're friends.
Come on.
Yeah, burn that bridge. While at the White House, Trump and Kid Rock announced they're going to fight ticket scalping. Did someone say scalping? Asked one woman.
Hey. So this is a great joke. I don't know if Elizabeth Warren's on the bingo card, but this is a great poll. I don't know if you guys remember during the Democratic nomination process, I think this was 24 years ago, Elizabeth Warren said that she was Native American. Then it was super cringe because she went and got her ancestry done. She's like 1/1000th Native American or something like that. And the big mistake because her political opponents have been juicing that story ever since to huge laughs.
Drew Barrymore says Mr. Clean makes her uncomfortable because he's so sexual. Wow, Mr. Clean makes her horny. You better keep her away from this guy, huh?
That's a penis joke, ladies and gentlemen. So that's another phallic symbol. Put that on your list of things that are wieners. We've got the Nathan's hot dog wiener, classic wiener, straws, and cigars. 57, and penis. Thank you, Brian. Definitely on the list. That's a good penis joke right there. Hot dogs are very funny food to eat. Again, though, not gay to eat a hot dog because it starts as a penis, but it actually disappears.
Pennsylvania town painted curved road lines down a residential street to curb reckless driving. Although one driver
Gutfeld really struggling with reading there. Maybe he should go to university.com. Oh, I can't be mean to this guy. He's my favorite comedian.
felt perfectly
One of my
at
favorite
home.
comedians, yeah. Hey! So she's Kamala's a drunk. Great joke. Put her on there. Kamala Harris, number 2. Perfect stuff. Gutfeld slip up. I'll do it. Number 42. We're getting through them today. This is the first monologue. We might get done with bingo early on.
SpaceX just launched a rocket mission to the North and South Poles. It's being led by Chun Wang, a Chinese billionaire.
Wang, you guys. Wang, right? Funny last name. Could be a penis. How is this joke going to end? I'm guessing penis.
Who plans on dropping off a stack of menus.
Oh, racist would say.
So that's just he doesn't let you guess, right? He goes right for the race joke, and then he calls it out, right? He calls it out. So he says, he says this is a racist thing afterwards. So it's okay because it's like he knows that he's doing that. Which just makes it fine, but also great stuff. I thought Wang is going to be, now you can do a race joke and a penis joke, a double whammy, but he just goes straight on to the race joke. So maybe he's saving a race penis joke for later. Very funny stuff, though.
It's funny because it's true.
Pete Hegseth has ordered that the standards be the same for both men and women in combat.
Round of applause. A lot of people in the audience are very invested in combat.
I know. meaning men will now have to bring a sweater in case it gets cold. The WN.
Nice laugh there. Good enthusiasm from Gutfeld for Gutfeld. So that's a joke. The sweater joke is about, oh yeah, women are annoying. Absolutely. So that's a classic woman thing. If you guys have met a woman or a girl on a yacht, they often want to wear, you might be having like a fun conversation with them, making comments about their body and how attractive they look. And then they'll just put on a sweater or baggy clothes. And it's like, why are you so annoying like this? So that's a woman joke about women being annoying.
NBA is celebrating a Trans Day of Visibility.
Oh my God, what a setup. We're going to fill a lot of bingo cards on this one. Oh man. Women's sports, trans, and women's basketball. Hold on.
The transgender community said, great, now no one will see us.
Oh, baby. Got him. Oh, man. Women's basketball sucks. Let's look at what do we got here? We got trans. I believe that's on here somewhere, right, Brian? We've got women's sports sucks. Repetition humor. Yes. Thank you, Alex Garza, repeating his chat message to hilarious effect here. No women's sports stuff for Gutfeld. That's a damn shame. And no trans stuff for Gutfeld. Wow. We really... Oh, trans athlete policies. Nah, I don't know if that's a policy. Maybe it is. Damn, that's too bad. I feel like we've seen this joke a couple times.
And finally, Chipotle is giving away $1 million worth of buy one, get one free burritos. In a related story, Jerry Nadler's dry cleaner committed suicide.
Is that a joke about Jerry Nadler spilling Chipotle on himself? Or is this the classic American pastime joke, shitting yourself? Hard to say. Is that a pooping your pants joke, or is that a spilled Jerry Nadler number 14? Very good. Is that a pooping your pants? Or is that a spilled Chipotle? Either way, incredibly funny, but that's hard to decipher there, Gutfeld.
All right, filthy.
Chipotle.
According to Variety, movie theaters are contemplating letting people smoke pot in text while enjoying a movie. And why is that? Well, these days, theaters are as empty as Kamala's medicine cabinet. True, it's never really recovered from COVID, and the idea of sitting with strangers to watch a movie, well, it seems as foreign as the men I hire to cradle me while I nap.
Okay, so first joke there in this, I believe he's in the Gutfeld sort of little ranty segment here, so he's going to make an awesome point about how movies are woke and trash now. But what he's going to say, the Kamala joke is about Kamala. She lost the election, so she's eating a lot of pills to try to cope. Gutfeld's going to be hitting that Kamala lost the election bit for, the foreseeable decade, which is great. But also he makes a joke about, I guess, himself having foreign people cradle him as he sleeps, which is a great self-burn.
So the theaters are trying everything to get people back in the seats, including reclining seats, alcohol service, fine dining, and now pot smoking and texting. But it is funny that they think weed and texting will bring you back, since those are two things you can also do at home. But there's one thing you can't do at home that they overlook: make better movies.
Yes.
Which is
Did I call it? Did I call it or what? Movies are woke and bad. I'm gonna put a week's worth of donations down that we're gonna be talking about Snow White here.
It's a lot harder than saying, hey, let's attract more rude, smelly potheads. You know, the people a smart industry would try to keep out of their place of business. Seriously, welcoming texting potheads in a theater, that's like a restaurant saying, hey, we don't need a new chef, we need more salmonella. But such remedies are easier than admitting the truth, that the product sucks. Disney will lose hundreds of millions on Snow White because they were more concerned with being woke than being watchable. Plus, it doesn't help that the new Snow White thinks she's Joy Reid with hair.
Joy Reid, I don't think she's on the bingo card, but we'll be looking into it. 25 Disney. Thank you. Very good. That's a Disney for sure.
This is what Disney did to Snow White. Can you imagine if they do yet another reboot of Cinderella? $10, it's Prince Charming who puts on the glass slipper because it matches his transparent thong. Hollywood thinks we're idiots for wanting exciting movies.
What? Transparent thong? Is that a joke about thongs? Is effeminate. Oh, I'll give you that one. Absolutely. Thank you, Super Garble. You're on it today.
With relatable heroes. So instead, they gave you a musical celebrating a transgender drug dealer. Emilia Perez got 13 Oscar nominations and sold about 13 tickets. But you got to admit, getting neutered helps you hit the high notes.
Wow. Pretty aggressive coming out on April Fool's Day here. Is that it? Yeah. DEI and virtue signaling. Yeah. Do you think? I'm gonna hit virtue signaling. Just as I'm gonna pre-click it.
Movie theaters can throw in all the goodies they want, but it won't help if the movies suck harder than the view on a pork-flavored lollipop.
The View, eating food, View women, fuck them. Where are we here? The View, very good. Funny stuff. We got to hit The View at least once a day on the Gutfeld monologue. It just centers you. Is fat? Yeah, we'll give him the fat one. Nothing funnier than being fat. Great stuff. Yeah, so pork flavored lollipop, very funny thing to imagine. Lollipops generally sweet in flavor, but imagining, oh, they made a pork flavored lollipop and now Joy Behar just can't help eat it because she's super fat. Great, just great premise, great punchline all together. Funny scene. Showmance, I can't do Joy Behar yet.
Rather than make movies people want to go see, they offer crap that actually makes the experience worse. And you know what that reminds me of? You guessed it, the Democrat Party. Instead of approving the
Democrats. Is that the Dems? Ryan, does this qualify as a Democrats joke? Good points here, though. I agree. The movies, I miss the movies they used to make where it was just like a white guy in the desert somewhere just posing terrorists with bullets. Those are my favorite movies. And at the end, he goes to like a yacht full of yacht girls, and it's great. You know, simple, good movies. I don't know what it is with these movies these days. They're so complicated, and there's so many, just like 50 genders. Take me back.
Product, they keep appealing to their worst customers. Even the New York Times admits it. The rag put out a scathing rebuke of the party, saying they're in denial of their 2024 election loss. The Times, of all places, even says they moved too far to the left. Hell, that's like Chris Christie telling you to lay off the donuts.
Is fat. We already did that one. Hitting the fat folk hard on this one here. Very funny stuff, and also very true. You know, the Democrats should, you know, sort of adopt more right wing. Ideally, Americans choose between the right wing and the far right wing between their two parties. I think polls have shown that there's no reason to be left wing at all in that country. So great strategies. I can't see your chats in YouTube, by the way, but I can see it under on the screen under Myles. Oh.
But rather than try to correct their descent into absurdity, they embrace more absurdity. Instead of admitting their colossal error, it's just more fabrications. In this case, they decided that Elon is a Nazi. Okay, but didn't he used to be your hero? You know, it says something that the Dems can expect its mob of supporters to turn on a dime, which they do. So how could the party be so confident the mob would go from adoring the king of climate change to wanting him hanged in the town square? Well, like the film industry, the Democrat Party hold an arrogant disdain for their customers. So much so that
that's a big flub, Gutfeld, you wacky guy. I think we've already covered your flubbing. He's flubbing all over town. It is April Fool's Day. He's probably very excited. But the Dems? Did they say the Dems? A dollar says the Dems. Did he say Dems? I didn't hear Dems yet, but I am pretty dumb.
Push stupid ideas and assume their customers will just eat it up. The Democrat mob are no different than bit actors willing to perform whatever script you give them that day. They get paid for the work, and when the clock hits noon, they're gone. It could be a protest against cops, fracking, Musk, it doesn't matter. Just supply the signs and the paycheck, and they'll picket their grandmother for going as Pocahontas for Halloween in 1940. It's so like smoking pot or being allowed to text in a theater.
Good points.
The Democrats' latest moves do nothing to address the unsolvable.
Dodongo Manouf says, why are they smashing small toys? Because they were paid. Okay? Because they were simply paid. You know, I used to, back when I was in school doing music, I used to just go to protests and they would pay me hourly. George Soros would give me a fat stack of bills to go and just protest whatever they told me to. It's like that.
Problem within the party. Their movie is one that no one wants a ticket to, because in this film called Life, they're the villains, and there will be no sequel.
Welcome tonight's guest.
Is Tyrus?
Love to send him photos of their mom's new
see if
boyfriend.
Is Tyrus there?
Writer comedian Jamie Lissau. She flies planes and rescues Great Danes. Financial analyst Hammer Super's like, Of all the smart asses, she wears the best glasses. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. And he's the reason for
Tyrus's guest. Which number is that one? Shameless Replay donated $1 on YouTube. Thank you so much. I didn't see it show up in the dollar. I think if it's 99 cents, it doesn't show up. That's an absurdity. Thank you so much for your $1. Shameless Replay, you have the floor. If you've got any way to explain, or is Shameless Replay, are you just paying? It's for the it's for the Dem. Thank you, but also, thank you so much for the donation. Thank you for. I'll give this to my Democrat protesters the next time I see them. Okay, pretty good monologue. Pretty good monologue so far. We got through quite a lot of the bingos. Let's say we followed it up. Now, we got hit with a curveball with a John Kerry reference off the top. What's it going to be? What's it going to be off the top of the Wednesday episode monologue? What's the joke? I'm going to say, yeah, I'm thrown by John Kerry. Maybe he's going to open up with maybe he'll do a Bill Clinton. He seems to be pulling from the 90s a lot.
Yes. The Hilton, 1 a.m. Parking lot. Just you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. So last night, Democrat Senator Cory Booker broke the record for the longest Senate speech in history. It was so long, Rashida Tlaib's mustache grew a mustache.
Rashida Tlaib.
Cory didn't take any.
Very funny. And that's a callback because they've made a joke about her having a mustache before, which is also like a common, that's also a racial stereotype, right? Which is super awesome because you think of the stereotype and he says it and then you laugh. a racial stereotype about people from the Middle East, right? Is ugly. Absolutely. Lamp super chatted $2. Can you give this to Tyrus, please? Tell him I say hi. Absolutely, I'll get that to Tyrus. Thank you so much, Lamp. I'll reach out to Tyrus this afternoon and make sure I'll say Lamp sent this, and Tyrus will be like, "Does Lamp want me on her show?" I don't know, Lamp. Do you want Tyrus? Tyrus will be a guest for you for $2. He'll do it. What else we got here, Brian? 47 is ugly. Good. Great start. Not what I thought. I thought it was going to be Bill Clinton, but here we are with Rashida Tlaib. Very disappointing prediction for me. I'm sorry, guys.
Bathroom breaks, and he denies using diapers or catheters, an apparent insult directed at Nancy Pelosi. But Jerry Nadler was so impressed with Booker's continence, he awarded him a purple shart.
Jerry Nadler.
Yeah, yes. All right. One of our guests is falling apart.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Gutfeld having a real ball here.
All right, it's Liberation Day.
Did he say Nancy Pelosi? That was a good self-laugh.
Not to be confused with Liberace.
I haven't self-laughed. Did he just say not to be confused with Liberace Day? Are we doing a Liberace joke?
Liberace Day.
Oh, yes.
I show up to work with a candelabra up my ass.
With a candelabra up my ass. You guys, we're talking... Right, let's analyze that line there, right? First of all, so funny. Liberace sounding like liberation. So we've got a similarity with those two words. So already very funny word play. Then we've got Liberace is gay. He's already gay, so it's super funny. Also, it's a reference from Liberace was alive, I believe, in the early 1900s. I think this joke is around 85 years old reference. So huge pull from the back of time to come all the way to this monologue from last Wednesday. Massive reference, massive name comedy, very funny stuff. Plus, he's gay, but also, because we know that gay involves putting stuff in your ass. And then Gutfeld says it. Right, he just says it, right? A candelabra in the ass. Just so good, because you got the funny image, you've got the name comedy, you've got the old reference, you've got word play with liberation sounding like Liberace. I mean, this joke has everything in it, and Gutfeld knows this, and he is laughing along with that. Just wonderfully written stuff here.
It was a good movie.
Thank you. Wisconsin voters approved a referendum requiring voter ID, leaving many Democrat voters rolling over in their graves.
So that's a joke about Democratic voters. This is about voter fraud, as you guys know. Voter fraud, number 75. Thank you, Brian. In the 2020 election, there's rampant voter fraud to steal the election from Donald Trump. This is all being proven via university.com. So check it out.
Yeah, thank you. Took some time. Argentina is set to declassify documents on Nazi fugitives, causing people to wonder if it will reveal that Hitler moved there after the war. True, it is a conspiracy theory, although it makes me wonder about that guy Steve I met in Buenos Aires.
Is this a Gutfeld's gay joke? I don't know. Those are two guys with their shirts off.
I just remember him being a lousy painter and a vegetarian.
Okay, so this is a joke about the fact that Gutfeld is old enough to have met Adolf Hitler in Buenos Aires in the 1960s. So I think this is a self-burn on Gutfeld, admitting that he is an incredibly ancient man.
Delaware Democrat Chris Coons wonders why we're wasting time on Greenland when the average American can't find Greenland on the map. To which the average American responded, well, none of us can find Delaware on a map either. Tiny little place.
What? Was that a joke about Delaware? Is that a location comedy joke?
Since taking office, the Trump administration has arrested 113,000 illegal immigrants.
Amen.
No wonder my yard looks like crap.
Perfect. Okay, so complicated joke there, right? We've got a joke about border security. Yeah, let's. I'll give you border security. So this is a great joke here about, first of all, big round of applause from the crowd for immigrants being arrested, which is great to see. And then Gutfeld makes a joke about, oh, my yard is a mess. That's because in the United States, it's very common for illegal immigrants to do landscaping work. And so it is funny in one end, but it's also also a little bit tragic because you're imagining like, oh, all these people came to America and were mowing your lawn, and then you deported them, which is kind of sad because they're doing such a good job on the lawn there. But it's funny because it's a racial stereotype, which then brings it back to humor town territory. So still laughing.
But one wonders, with all this cheap labor gone, who's left to trim Whoopi Goldberg's bush?
Whoopi Goldberg's bush. Let's go, baby. Whoopi Goldberg. Where is she? Number 22. Excellent stuff, Gutfeld. Thank you. Great stuff. And saying that Whoopi Goldberg has a big bush is very funny. Bushes are funny. Hairy women are funny. Women should be waxed everywhere below the neck. It's as God intended.
I'm talking about lawn care. I'm talking about gardening. You are sick people. Sick people. My goodness. An Ohio polygamist and her 5 lovers were arrested for kidnapping and torturing a man at the Red Roof Inn. He was beaten, starved, and worst of all, forced to stay at the Red Roof Inn.
Okay, that's a local joke about the Red Roof Inn. I don't know. Maybe I guess it's a bad place to stay. Sometimes there's there's these brands that serve as punchlines, right? Chipotle makes me gonna poo my pants. Red Roof Inn, bad place to stay. Make fun of something. Oh, at least some people make fun of Detroit. No one wants to live. These are just classic punchlines of brands and areas there. So you don't have to have stayed at a Red Roof Inn, seen one, heard of one. He just has the pacing of this is funny, so you just laugh.
And according to a new study, 23% of travelers think passengers with smelly
Waffle House
farts
brawls
should be removed from a flight. As a result, guess who just booked his next trip on?
Who's it gonna be? Who is it gonna be? Who has smelly farts? Who do you think? Who do you think it's gonna be? Brock Lichty, thank you so much for your donation, sir. Who do you think it's gonna be, Brock? Who is it gonna be? Who has smelly farts? Which Democrat? Gore Vidal, Satala Disco. Whoa. Deep pull. Biden. I think. Ooh. I'm going to go with. Oh, Cory Booker. Lunar. Ooh. This is going to be tough. Lyndon Johnson. Oh, that would be massive. I'm going to go with Biden. I'm going to agree with, I think we're going Biden here.
On Greyhound.
God damn it. This is, you think you can guess what Gutfeld's going to say because you watch a lot of his monologues and they usually follow the same pattern. And then he just throws, again, he hits you with these ones and he hits you with something you don't expect and it just blows you away. Number JB Pritzker. Thank you. Haven't seen this guy. I should have known.
All right. It's obvious.
Damn.
All right, monologue. So they say hindsight is 20.
Right monologue. So, okay, that was a good intro to the segment. So this is his rant segment. What do you think he's going to complain about this time, guys? What was in the news? Do you think it's a pro-tariff rant, perhaps? Or maybe they're avoiding that talk. I don't know. Maybe it's about Democrats are woke. Democrats complain. I bet he's mad about the Cybertruck burnings still, and how Cybertrucks are persecuted, even though they're trying to just be trucks.
20. And if anybody in the media sees out of his hind end, it's Joe Scarborough. He was once a Republican in Congress, but will be remembered as the worst thing to happen to Florida since Ron Jeremy toured the villages.
Ron Jeremy's a famous porn star from the era where you would rent porn VHSs in the 90s.
No. But what I like most about Scarborough is his honesty. Well, that and his dime slot hillbilly eyes. Here he is on April Fool's Day, no less.
Dime slot hillbilly eyes. Have you guys heard that expression before? I have never heard that expression before. Wonderful stuff.
Talking about what a disaster Joe Biden was as president.
We always look back in retrospect and think things were a certain way, just because it's the way the media at the time defined it. You know, I remember after Biden's shockingly bad presidential debate, that's when like the history books were starting, you know, you could just see that was going to be the reason why he was pushed out of the race and he was doing better.
Yep.
Oh, you could just see that was going to be the reason, because there were no reasons before the debate.
No.
Sorry, Joe. Saying the debate was like a shocking reason for Biden's downfall is like saying, oh, I didn't know Hunter Biden was a problem until I saw his artwork. And what a convenient...
Hunter Biden, you guys. Bingo players. Bingo players probably getting close here. Satala Disco says doing X is like Y. Yes. Satala Disco doing adding some algebra here to the joke formulas. Yes. This is like this. Very common joke formula. Very good.
Opinion to suddenly come up with that now that Biden is long gone. But that's what you get when the media is interviewing the media without addressing the diseased and dying elephant in the room, the media. Scarborough was talking with the authors of a new book that details just how Biden really was, how bad he was. And Scarborough acts as if he knew it the whole time. But it wasn't that long ago when Scarborough said this about the commander in coma.
He's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually. Analytically.
Cogent? I think he meant pungent. Keep yakking, you grifter.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth.
F you.
This version.
F you. Have you guys ever heard such vile swearing in your life? F you means fuck you.
Of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it.
Of course it wasn't the truth, you bozo. Which is why you said it. This guy has always been more full of than a cage full of chimps mainlining Metamucil. Here he is in 2023 with the same line of Caca del Toro about Biden's supernaturally keen focus. You know, I bet it'll wake you up when you're asleep at 8:30 at night.
He'll wake me up when I'm asleep at 8:30 at night, because Meek and I, of course, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I'll just go, hello? Yes, sir?
Yeah.
It just beeped. It definitely beeped. We're going to give it censored. We'll do a censored for you. Number 41.
And about an hour later, he will aggressively and very effectively give me point by point by point about how my op-ed was flawed.
First of all, what kind of loser has to get up at 4:30 in the morning?
Got him.
So he
a
relays
Fox
an
guy.
anecdote about Biden calling him up to talk politics. He left out the part that Biden thought he was talking to Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart, guys, we're talking back. We went all the way back to Liberace, and now Brian Kilmeade, number 36. Oh my God. We're back to Amelia Earhart. Lamp says that's Nancy Pelosi. It's possible. I think maybe Amelia Earhart was Pelosi's daughter.
But does anybody really believe that story seriously? Biden didn't have the mental capability to dissect his own pork chop for dinner, let alone dissect a Joe Scarborough op-ed. He couldn't debate a speak and spell, which is why they told him the speak and spell was the nuclear football. And Scarborough actually wanted us to believe Joe was still awake at 8:30 at night. By then, he was already in his cryogenic chamber, dreaming about his uncle getting eaten by cannibals, overcoming oil cancer.
Look at those dime slit eyes. Hey? Guy's dumb as hell.
And Corn Pop's love for hairy legs.
Is stupid? I'll give you a stupid. Yeah.
Remember this stinky pile of crap from February 2024 after special counsel Robert Hur declined to pursue criminal charges against Biden?
Oh, yeah. Do you guys remember this scandal? Do you guys remember this? I know it's so hard to remember this scandal because the stock market is collapsing right now, but there was a scandal about Biden doing some really old guy shit, and it fucking makes me furious.
Hur said Biden willfully possessed classified docs, but it was okay because he's an old man with a bad memory. Well, the Dems exploded with rage at this obvious truth, and this hack led the attack.
There's so many people that immediately heard these random conclusions, irrelevant conclusions, who, first of all, wondered why in the world he would put that in a report, his neurological assessment of Joe Biden. Why in the world would the Justice Department allow that dicta to be in there? It's gratuitous. Well, and he knows it's gratuitous, and it was bad faith.
Of course, it was also true. If Scarborough got within 200 feet of a polygraph machine, it would burst into flames. But Scarborough couldn't afford to be honest with his audience because the Dems had a big, bad orange man breathing down their necks. So he had to deny Biden's physical and mental decline, which the whole world saw every day. He had to blurt out hostile, fidgety or they wouldn't give him the pills that keep him from turning into a werewolf. His entire...
We've already... Have we checked off the Dems yet? That's got it. They must have hit... Sometimes when they haven't even said the Dems, I just hear the Dems. Like when I watch this, sometimes I just hear it in my head. I'll give it to you because I trust. There's a lot of words going by, but sometimes I just, when I'm watching Gutfeld, I kind of retreat into myself and I just get angry at I'm just like the Dems. I just say the Dems over and over internally. I'm like the Dems, the Dems, the Dems. And I just get furious. And then I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be joke explaining right now, but yeah.
Grift was so that he could be the last person MSNBC lays off. I mean, it's not like his night job as a butthead impersonator would cover his monthly nut. But now in 2025...
Cover his monthly nut? What does that mean? What? Is this a jizz joke?
A werewolf. His entire grift was so that he could be the last person MSNBC lays off. I mean, it's not like his night job as a butthead impersonator would cover his monthly nut.
His monthly nut? Does that mean... So from what I understand is nut means there's the fluid, right? That means you've come, you've nutted, you've jizzed. These are like common terms for ejaculate. But in this context, is he seeing that like MSNBC pays for him to jizz once a month? Or is this like the nut is like his monthly expenses in that context? I mean, it's much funnier if Joe Scarborough has like a scheduled nut that he does once a month. But I don't think it makes sense in this context. I'm going to give it a can't explain here because I'm not familiar totally with what's going on here.
But now in 2025, when he thinks it's safe, Scarborough has seen the light.
I remember talking to a reporter 3 days before the before the debate, and we were talking about how Biden was starting to fall behind in Minnesota, that Virginia was getting really tight, uncomfortably tight, and Democrats were afraid Biden would even lose New Hampshire. We both said to each other, the funny thing is, like, no matter how Biden does in this debate, people are going to blame the debate for the way the polls are already breaking before the debate.
Wait, you mean the funny thing is that no matter how Biden does in the debate, he's going to be blamed for the polls? No, the funny thing is, if you had just told...
Oh, Gutfeld is furious on this Wednesday from last week about Joe Biden. Imagine, like, it's so... Like, I get, like, it's a funny show. We're all having a good laugh here. If I had one criticism for Gutfeld, I'd be like, don't get so angry, especially since that, Joe Biden did lose the election. You did win, like your side won, and Joe Biden passed away weeks ago. And you guys, you can't, you're railing on him a lot here, and you're still angry. I can understand railing on Biden. It's funny. Everybody knows Biden. He's a funny guy to make fun of, but he lost and he's gone now. Like, I don't be angry about it. Just just laugh and do some Biden jokes. We love Joe Biden jokes here on Jokes Explained. Rumble Explained. But I don't like to see the anger in your eyes. You don't have to be so mad at Joe Biden still.
Told the truth when it mattered, maybe the Dems would have had time to find a candidate who could actually win an election. Hell, Jimmy Carter was still around at that point. He would have done a better job at that debate. But he didn't, so now you have to lie about your lies. But hey, it could always be worse. Morning Joe could be on a network people watch. All right.
Got him.
Welcome. Tonight's guest. He gives fans something to remember. A terrible experience. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito.
Joe DeVito.
Every time I think of his last name. Actor and comedian Steve Byrne.
Oh.
She's so hot she fogs her own glasses. Host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy.
Funny face.
And he's
Iris.
the reason for cathedral.
Iris. Oh, man. Can't wait to give Tyrus Lamps $2. Want to see his reaction. Man, have we had no bingo winners yet? That was some pretty solid Gutfeld there. No winners on the bingo. Remember, if you have all the bingos, if you get a row of bingos, I believe you have to self-declare bingo. Tested on lab mice. They didn't laugh. That's a joke about how mice don't speak English. Very funny. And maybe mice are Democrats, too.
I know.
Great frame rate so far.
Yeah. Wait till you see me without my shirt. Happy Thursday, everyone. Well, it's National Burrito Day, which means...
National Burrito Day. You guys, where do you think... Where's this joke going? Okay. Are we going racial stereotype? Straight right to Mexicans? Or are we going shit your pants? I'm thinking those three. I mean, I might be wrong again. Greg he's thrown some curveballs here, but I'm thinking something, maybe even something about the border not being secure. But we're in a Mexican stereotype territory. I feel like if he doesn't do Mexican stereotype, I don't know. I hope he does, because, again, you always laugh at the thing you expect to hear.
Means officials are telling the View's audience to wear galoshes.
What? The burrito premise turned into a joke about The View? Are you serious? How? How does he do that? How does what a master craftsman. But we do have the X is like Y. No, that's not how that works. Sorry. I just keep thinking the Dems in my head. But a goulash. What's a goulash? Does anyone know what a goulash is? Is that like a Hungarian dish? What's a goulash, ladies and gentlemen? A rain boot. Oh, so they got rain boots because the audience is so full of shit. Is that a shit? So did we go to shit pants joke? Did we do shit your pants? So was I sort of right? Interesting. I wasn't
The U.S.
totally
government
wrong.
has banned American personnel in China from having sexual relationships with Chinese citizens. Because half an hour later, they're horny again.
Oh, racist would say.
What? Okay, I've already checked off Myles can't explain, but we definitely had some sort of racial stereotype there, and Gutfeld called it out. But I sometimes, and I'm ashamed that I don't know all the racial stereotypes. I should, because they're very funny, and I should study up. But sometimes I can't remember them all. Gutfeld's been alive longer than I have. He's heard more than I have. There's a stereotype about Chinese food making you hungry a short time after you eat. I've never heard that before, and now I'm glad. Thank you guys so much. So now, Danny Miranovic, thank you for that explanation. Thank you. That helps the chat. It helps me, because now if Gutfeld or somebody else in my life who thrives on the Fox network makes that joke, I'll know it's time to laugh. Because I'll be like, classic Chinese food, fuck it.
You people make me sick. But no sex with Chinese citizens? Well, guess who just canceled his trip to Beijing?
Oh, I didn't pause it fast enough. You know what? I was gonna say Hunter Biden, but this is Bill Clinton is like another good. He's a good one to hit, a good name comedy to hit for sex pest of some kind. So great stuff, Bill Clinton making an appearance late in the program here.
According to a new book, Obama didn't want Kamala to run for president and actually worked to undermine her. Perhaps he wanted to remain the nation's first black female president.
Is that a joke about Obama being a female? Very interesting. Well, we got Obama, so we're going to check that one off. Number 8, misgendered, 51. Very good. But I don't know, it usually has to be a trans person that's misgendered. Unless he's implying that Obama is trans. Again, this is the thing with Gutfeld. There's so many layers, right? There's so many layers. I believe he has to say female. I think he said first black woman president. Yeah. Do you think? Do we go for misgendered? It's so hard to say. I don't know if that's exactly the rules. There's so many. Did he say female? I'll go back. Let's see.
Beijing.
Hey, Billy Clinton.
According to a new book, Obama didn't want Kamala to run for president and actually worked to undermine her. Perhaps he wanted to remain the nation's first black female president.
You're right. You guys are right. You're listening better than me. Oh my God. Female. Excellent job. We got a bingo. No wonder DJ Chemix was so excited. We got a bingo winner. Holy, well done. Let's check you out the bingo list here. You got to declare bingo. Go into your bingo app, declare bingo.
I think that was a typo. Covered my ass. A female fencer was disqualified after taking a knee instead of competing against a trans-identified male. It was an act of bravery, especially since kneeling put her dangerously close to her opponent's penis.
Boom, 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 boom. And we're getting so many we were going to, yeah, there you go. DJ Chemix, congratulations. We need the source audio for bingo. Yes, we do. Congratulations for the bingo. Due to stream latency, I don't care. I'm declaring the winner, DJ Chemix. Congratulations. You're added to our hall of bingo heroes. I'm going to continue watching the rest of this monologue before we find some other content here, but because he's hitting all the major points we missed before. I always usually look forward to trans jokes. We haven't seen those yet, and it's part of my weekly routine. I have to see it.
After all, she came there for a sword fight, not a sword fight.
All right, great joke about the penis there.
A Utah man did 10,001 pull-ups in 24 hours, one for each of his wives. We love our Mormon. The FBI put a gag order about Hunter Biden's laptop to prevent agents from revealing the truth. Coincidentally, gag order was the name of most of the videos on Hunter's laptop.
Oh, Hunter Biden's laptop, a great joke there. Everybody loves the laptop jokes. Hunter Biden famously had a laptop. You guys saw it in the news, and it was full of tons of secrets, Pizzagate, nuclear codes, porn videos with him, and all the Clintons. It's had everything on that laptop, and that's why Biden lost.
By the way, Hunter willfully gave up his law license. This makes sense. You want your lawyer who cracks open his briefcase, not opens his briefcase for crack. And finally, porn star Bonnie Blue says she wants to have 2,000 men enter her in 24 hours. I know, breaking the previous record held by Home Depot.
Boom. That's a good joke. That's a classic joke there. That's like is that an immigration joke? I thought this was just like a classic Tim Allen sort of joke where like men like Home Depot, men like tools and wood, right? I figure like that's just sort of like a man joke.
Dirty setup, clean punchline. All right, so Trump proclaimed April 2nd Liberation Day when global tariffs went into effect. Which makes me wonder, has our country and its taxpayers gotten ripped off for more than 50 years?
Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen.
Trump calls them reciprocal tariffs. But, Mr. President, what does that mean?
Reciprocal. That means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. Again, reciprocal. Back and forth. Back and forth.
Back and forth.
Oh.
Back and forth. Kind of like how you return a beached whale to the ocean.
That was close there. They almost made fun of Donald Trump, which is, I can't really agree with. Because he's doing such great things. So it's risky territory to make fun of. Generally, when doing a comedy show, you want to punch up, right? You want to punch up at trans people and immigrants. You don't want to punch down at Tesla and Trump, because you'll turn the crowd against you.
And what about that old-fashioned term, groceries?
An old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it on the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it.
Yeah, it's a bag with different things in it. That's how they describe Joy Behar's CAT scan.
Oh, man. So they do. There's a little touch of Trump there. A little funny, make fun of how Trump says groceries, which is, it's hard to find faults in Trump, but I would say probably the worst thing he's done in the last couple of years is over-describe reciprocal and not really know what groceries are. So So careful, Trump, because Gutfeld's got your number here. But then he does switch back to Joy Behar being a bag.
Oh. But look, Trump knows what he's doing because he runs successful businesses before, unlike the current Dems who want to tell you how to run your life but show no evidence of how well they've run theirs.
He gets so mad. He gets so... God, Greg, as just advice, man, just keep it light. These are great jokes. Like, you're doing great material. We're all laughing. But then you get so, like, you squinch your face and you get so mad. Like, calm.
Have any of them ever accomplished anything before politics? No, it's degree, law school activist ran over a teenager drunk.
Degree, law school activist. Yeah. If there's any of you guys like that in the chat, this is not the place for you. I want only Home Depot men and kitchen ladies and some yacht girls.
It's the Democrat career path. The power comes first, then the money. That's how you get a first lady who insists you call her doctor. But her one patient's been on life support for a decade. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Remember our last president who spent his entire professional life in government? He doesn't. And the damn president before that was a community organizer, what normal people call unemployable. Yet now he's got homes in D.C., Hawaii, Martha's Vineyard, with a basketball court for Barack and a weight room for Michelle.
Oh my God, yeah. We discussed this before. Physical activity is woke, guys. Remember, if you're new to this stream, if you're new to the channel, we've been doing this for a little while now. We've been doing Jokes Explained, Rumbles Explained for about 25 years, and we've learned along the way there's lots of different ways to be woke and how to avoid them. You don't want to be doing physical activity. You don't want to be lifting weights. You don't want to be riding a bike. Don't walk. Don't run. Jogging is also woke. Straws are woke. You basically just want to act normal all the time. The definition of normal is just regular.
Go back further. What did Bill Clinton actually do before government? You know, besides a few dozen hookers and countless lines of coke.
Yeah, hookers and coke.
Chuck Schumer, the only thing Chuck did besides government is create new ways to kill Batman.
Wow.
Bernie Sanders, the guy...
You guys remember that show? I think that's from the 1960s Batman. That's from about 135 years ago. That was a good poll.
Lived in a commune before being booted for hoarding soup. There's Cory Booker, whose greatest achievement is going a day straight without peeing. Well, at least he did something straight.
Cory Booker's gay. Oh, man. Huge roast on that guy calling him. That's like a David Lucas level roast there, right? Where you're just like, you see a person and you're like, fucking gay ass bitch. And you can't recover from that. You're basically roasted right into the ground when they say that.
What?
Good luck.
I don't get it.
Recovering from that one,
AOC tended bar before politics, where the most popular order was turn up the TV and stop talking.
Yes. I mean, and then an excellent point. Fox News has been making this point for a while. So it's interesting to me, right? So this is what's so complicated about Gutfeld, because there's like a lot going on here, right? There's a lot going on. Because he just said the Democrats who got elected never did anything before they were elected. And then AOC was working as a bartender, which is a job, but that's not good enough. So it's like, oh, you know, fuck lawyers and politicians, but also don't be a bartender, because that's also bad. Again, there's a lot of rules that you have to maintain. You have to maintain a realization there's a lot of rules to how you live your life on the Gutfeld show. And I haven't figured them all out. I think that I'd be disqualified from running for office because what I do is weird. But at the same time, what I do is a good service. Like, I'm doing what Gutfeld's doing. I'm just spreading the message that the Dems suck. Tough.
Before becoming Cardi B with a head injury,
Jasmine Crockett was an ambulance chaser.
Cardi B with a head injury. Now, that's an interesting joke there, too, again, because usually when you make these name comedy jokes, you want them to be similar to each other. I don't see Cardi B here on the screen. Cardi B is quite flamboyantly dressed. She looks very different than this lady, but maybe this is like a racist joke that Gutfeld's doing, which of course is funny, but I don't know. He's this Thursday Gutfeld. This is some high octane Gutfeld here.
She was an ambulance chaser doing pro bono work for BLM, and trust me.
Okay, yeah, so you can't be a bartender, you can't be a lawyer. Those are crossed. You can't do that if you don't want to get into politics.
BLM overpaid. Now look at the Trump machine, filled with people who did great things first, then...
Yes, okay. Okay, this is a comparison. This is comparison comedy, right? So the Dems are full of fucking idiots who never did anything or did lame stuff or were lawyers but for shitty organizations. Now we're going to look at the Trump machine and we're going to see these incredibly stable geniuses and what they accomplished.
Public service. Our current prez built half the Manhattan skyline, and without those buildings, where could the left protest?
Yes, Trump built Manhattan without any help from anyone.
Then we got the world's richest guy who also rescues astronauts.
Elon Musk, self-made billionaire, invented electric cars as a boy, and then put them on rocket ships he also built with his hands.
And help the paralyzed walk and other stuff that I do on the weekends. He's even tackling the decline in the world's population, one hot chick at a time.
Yes. What a cool, he's such a winner. He's fucking hot yacht chicks. Nice.
Pete Hegseth, career military, multiple deployments, Fox and Friends host, which some say is worse than two tours in Iraq. There's Howard Lutnick.
Military hero, Pete Hegseth. Very good stuff.
Scott Bessent, Vivek. They were all...
These guys, all big, successful businessmen.
About accomplishments first and service later. See, successful...
Business people are who you want to be running your country. Like, because they go out there, they get it. They saw a Ferrari go through their neighborhood when they were a kid and run over several of their friends, and they thought, you know what? I want to be that fucking winner. I don't want to be one of those orphans that got trapped under the tires of that Ferrari. I want to be the guy in that Ferrari fucking smoking a big straight guy cigar, right? They saw that and they aspired to that. And then they simply were like, Dad, I want to work for you and get that Ferrari. And then they did it. They went out there and they did it, right? They didn't just like hang out and ask for a job. They just walked in and started working for their dad day one. No asking. Yeah, really inspiring stuff. You want business leaders. Whenever I don't want to say I used to be a Democrat, but, I used to read books before I learned that reading books is woke, and then I got rid of all my books. But when I would read Charles Dickens stories, and there'd be like these business leaders kind of picking on the townsfolk, I used to think, man, I'd love to be Scrooge one day, or maybe Josiah Bounderby of Coketown, like these big business leaders who come in and just lay waste to orphans, because you don't hear about the orphans. Like, what do they even do? Like, what's their profile? Like, they just kind of live and die. No one even thinks. But the business leaders, they're a main part of the story, and like they get the most attention. And I've always wanted the most attention, so I'm very inspired.
People realize that life is a ladder with 2 steps. Level 1, you figure out your life first. Level 2, then you help others. The Dems reverse that. Level 1, solve the world's problems.
Level 1, you guys, figure out your life first, then go into
from
politics.
A position of inexperience. Level 2, get rich off your phony status. Meaning their first level of sacrifice is really just self-serving. You can exploit being a community organizer, but not developing real estate. It's why this idiot became mayor of LA, but not this guy.
Under
Who's
Bath,
this
LA
guy?
burned to the ground and since then has issued only 4 permits to rebuild homes. Meanwhile,
Yeah, I didn't know that this lady started those fires. But after watching Gutfeld, now I know.
Rick Caruso, a real estate tycoon, has already launched a new group
Yes.
aimed at expediting the city's rebuild. You can't get a better contrast. It's like a swimsuit contest between Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, so yeah, though, good point, though. Guy's a real estate developer. It's nice when a place burns down. It's nice to have all that extra space to build luxury condos and golf courses. This guy's got a vision.
And a chick.
Rosie O'Donnell.
This is why you have to fix your world before you fix the outside world.
Yeah, man.
It's no surprise that leftist activists have awful personal lives. They perform globally, but ignore locally. Oh, let's clean the planet, everyone. I'll shower next week. It would be funny if we weren't at their mercy. The more they try to fix the world, the worse our world gets. That's their only path to equality, making everybody as miserable as they are.
Nice. Yeah, great monologue. Good point there. See, a lot of the in politics, it can be hard to be an activist if you have any sort of, if you think of the other side as human beings, it can be really debilitating when you're trying to make jokes about them, right? So it's good to remember that Democrats they're stinky and they hate you. And they're basically worse than vermin. Then it's funnier because then you make fun of them. You don't really feel like, oh, maybe they've got their feelings hurt because Democrats don't have feelings. They are simply annoying and are meant to be attacked, which is a good message. Thank you so much. I've got it. Great stuff. Lovely monologues from Gutfeld. Congratulations to DJ Chemix there. I'll leave you pinned in the bingo card down there so we can all bask in your glory. DJ Chemix is a guy who definitely figured out his life before he came to the chat and started playing bingo. You know, he wasn't a community organizer or worked at the library. You know, I assume DJ Chemix, you were a business tycoon before you came to this chat and you developed real estate all over places that had burned down. And you came here and you imagined that you wanted to win and you just came in here and you fucking won. So we celebrate you for that. On the second step of the ladder already. Inspiring stuff. It's so inspiring to start the stream with an Andrew Tate video. I just can't help but be fired up this whole time. Okay, we've got a couple more things here for you for the remainder of the stream. Now I've got some watch laters here. There's something I wanted to explore here. Now, there's a video called "My YouTube Channel Would Be Deleted If I Posted My Comedy Special," and this is the comedian we've explored before, JP Sears, on Dave Rubin's show.
Don't associate comedians with freedom anymore.
Good start. I want to go back to the beginning here, though. We don't want to be skipping ahead on this video.
I don't want to talk about politics tonight. One side is very pro-gun. The other side is very anti-gun. I don't think they thought through that strategy.
Very good homage. Look at his hair. So his hair is kind of like it's a reference to, I don't know if you guys remember Dog the Bounty Hunter. Dog the Bounty Hunter was a famous bounty hunter on TV. And I think he runs the U.S. police union now or something. He's like, there's no way Dog the Bounty Hunter isn't in some way in charge of a government department, because it just seems like a no-brainer. But this is an ode to Dog the Bounty Hunter's hair. Dog the Bounty Hunter famously had like a mullet, even though he only had 65 hairs in total on his head. So JP Sears is sort of doing that. It's kind of an homage. the hair is implied. It's like a sort of a haze. It's less of hair, it's more of an orange haze that's around his face. And it does well to frame the face, which is going to be making some funny faces here.
Women's sports, still way too competitive for me. So what I think I'm going to start doing is identifying as a kid, start playing peewee football.
Got
And
him.
I think gluten is the Donald Trump of the food world. A lot of people say they're intolerant. Most of those people go home and crave it, don't they? Joe Biden died 2 years ago. Did y'all ever see the movie Weekend at Bernie's? Push him out on stage. Time to give a speech, Joe.
Great sound mixing.
I remember the...
Nice. You guys, oh my, I don't know if you, I haven't seen that comedy special yet because I don't have locals. But it looks very funny, very good sound mixing. I hope that the guitar riff continues through the whole special because that was a very straight guitar riff. That's what straight guys listen to. That's what I listen to. Brian often, you know, he'll come over to my place and he'll just fucking riff the guitar while I sit there. If I find I need to use a straw at any point, I make sure Brian's on the couch, just rug it down, down. So just like make sure that it stays straight in the room. No matter what gay stuff happens, the music in the background keeps it straight. So wonderful stuff. Lots of jokes in the trailer. He did this, and he's hitting all the standards we've seen before, right? Weekend at Bernie's is like Joe Biden. That's a classic joke that's been in the folk culture for about 8 years now. Then we've got the I identify as whatever. You can that's a stand-up comedian joke that's been licensed to be used royalty free by all comedians for a long time now. So good stuff.
One of my best friends on the planet, he directed this special. His name's Brent Pella. He and I were in
Brent Pellub, I think is what he said. Look him up, guys. University.com.
San Diego doing shows for a weekend late last year, and I said, bro, I'm ready to do a special. I want to.
His camera's shaking more than my camera. I thought I had shaky cam.
I don't think I can. Obviously, the typical places, Netflix's and Amazon's, given the nature of the content I'm doing on stage, they're not going to have it. It's just way removed from the mainstream narrative. I couldn't even release it on YouTube for free if I wanted to. That would get my channel deleted like that.
Oh, been there. We've been there. Here we go. Oh, that's like a serious
Dave Rubin and joining me today.
You guys know Dave Rubin. I hope you guys all know Dave Rubin. He's a famous stand-up comedian. He used to host Hot Gay Comics. We've done a Jokes Explained of his before. One of the best crowd work comics that's ever lived. Check it out.
Is a comedian whose new stand-up special, Please Censor This, is out now exclusively on Locals. JP Sears, I don't know how this hasn't happened before, but finally, welcome to the Rubin Report.
Right on. Well, thank you for having me, Dave, and it's been a pleasure to meet you in person a couple times, and I'm glad to be invited.
Okay, so he's gay. But he's gay because it's funny. That's how good of a comedian he is. He doesn't want to be gay, but he knows that it's funny to be gay. So he has committed to being gay for the bit, which is so funny.
To the sacred garden of the report.
I honestly don't know how this hasn't happened before. We've bumped into each other many times over the years at a lot of libertarian events, a lot of places where people are carrying American flags.
Do you guys all have a carved wooden American flag like that in your living room, just to remind yourself of where exactly you live?
Like right behind you back there. I want to get into the special and talk comedy and all that stuff, but I guess first,
comedy, baby.
People don't associate comedians with freedom anymore, which is a very bizarre thing. Were you always kind of libertarianish, freedom-focused, blah, 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 or was it a bit of a pushback against all the woke insanity over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I wasn't always this way.
Woke insanity.
It's been a bit of a pushback. I mean, look, just like so many other people.
Yeah, there has been a big pushback against woke insanity in the comedy community, and it's been great to see. In the old days, when comedians would be focused on humorous jokes, that was a real disaster, because it's like, why are we even here if not to push back against woke insanity? So it's so nice now that you can go to a comedy club and know that there's going to be some pushback.
And I'll admit it, I was living in a bubble of ignorance and entitlement, just thinking, well, this is America. Like, why? You don't need to worry about freedom. Like, we can take it for granted. Surprise. It turns out that's not the case. And I don't like that I lived in the bubble of ignorance, but I did, until our freedom started getting taken away. And you just see, if you study patterns of history, you see where it could go if we allow it.
Yes.
So
yeah, you guys study history. If you've seen anything like historical political repression starts with the comedy clubs. I mean, as soon as they start saying you can't say certain words or talk about certain topics in the comedy club, very shortly after, they're going to be clamping down on your human rights. Study any history book, and every time it starts in the stand-up comedy club. It's like during the crackdowns in Rome during the civil wars about 2,000 years ago. They first went to the mothership of the Forum, and they shut down the stand-ups.
That helped me realize freedom's my number one value. Like, everything great in life depends on freedom.
Yes.
And my child being able to have a great life, and his children one day, they need freedom. So, I used to just never be into politics. Couldn't even tell you what the difference between a Democrat and a Republican was. But looking back, I could see, like, I leaned liberal, and it was kind of cool, but
big mistake.
Not anymore. I love freedom.
Yeah, great narrative, and also a common experience with comedians, right? Like I said, the old days, comedy was about jokes, very simple time, very dumb time. Now comedians, you must choose a side. Am I against the woke mob, or am I with the woke mob? Am I going to do agreement comedy, or am I going to do freedom comedy? And it's so much better now, because when comedians were just trying to be funny, it's like, again, why am I not worked into a froth?
Yeah, well, we played a little bit of the stand-up special as the cold open for the show, and I'm sure most of my audience knows you from YouTube and Rumble and elsewhere. Are you surprised that so many comics went woke? I mean, there are a ton of guys I talk about on the show all the time who I used to love and admire, who were my comic influences, some of them my friends, who then just went off the deep end with this woke, politically correct. I mean, that's the danger, really. Not just woke, but politically correct and language freezing stuff that has led us to all this.
Yep.
To be honest with you, I have been surprised that so many comedians have gone woke, because...
Have you guys had friends that have gone woke, that, succumbed to the woke mind virus? Did you guys get to them? Did you get them enough water beforehand, or did they fully succumb? Because I had friends that went woke. Brian almost went woke. You guys don't know this. There's a little bit of inside detail on the Bachelor music. Brian almost went woke one day. I was in the living room drinking out of a straw. Brian was playing some pretty dank straight guy guitar riffs, and then the guitar stopped, and I looked over at him, and he had a rainbow pin on his shirt. I don't know where it came from, and he looked like he'd passed out on the couch, and there was a little bit of foam coming out of his mouth, and I was like, Brian, oh my God. And I could see by the rainbow pin that he had the woke virus. And so I got some water, and I put it in his lips, and it didn't work. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's the woke virus. I have to find something really not woke. And so I got a fucking huge cigar. I ran all the way down the street with a huge cigar. I stuck the cigar in Brian's mouth. And again, he's kind of foaming like it's an emergency. I put the cigar in his mouth. I lit it up. I threw on Larry the Cable Guy on one screen. On the other screen, I had it was like just commercial fishing. It was like a fishing show, and Brian slowly started to wake up. And he kind of swallowed the foam. He grabbed he took the cigar out of his mouth. He grabbed a Jack and Coke, sipped it back, and said, "What happened, Myles?" I said, "You almost went woke," and we almost lost the Bachelors music. So sorry for that little story, but it can happen. If you guys see that happen, you got to make sure you're ready. Keep cigars in the house.
I think of a comedian as sort of the rebel against the system of corruption. I think the most important thing about comedy is the truth principle. So at its core, I consider comedians to be people who represent truth. And they do it in a fun way and be goofy and insane along the way. So, as you see a lot of people in the country go woke, I would have expected a lesser percentage of comedians to do that. I can understand why they might. I mean, I think if someone outsources.
Yeah, it is true. The comedians sort of. You're welcome, Brian. I'm so glad to have you in the chat, non-woke. I don't know what I could do. I don't know what I would do without you. I don't know who else I could find to play straight guitar behind me, but it's good to have you around here, bud. But it's true what he says about comedians going woke is basically just joining the mainstream. Woke opinions, like socialist opinions, are pretty much, if you've been to America, socialism is very mainstream here. Socialism, equal rights, those sorts of things have been sort of the lifeblood of America since its foundation. And so to join with that cause is really kind of like, why are you joining the big bullies, right? Like, why don't you stand with the patriots and the rebels who just want simply for private industry to run our lives in the most efficient way possible? So good points here from JP Sears.
Their power and success to other people, whether it's the audience, a network, or trying to get picked up by some kind of agency. I can see that's my only hypothesis why someone would abandon the truth principle and cater to political correctness when they're comedians. So I'm not.
Yeah, you guys think like that, like big companies like Saudi Aramco and Monsanto and Tyson Meats, you think they make money? Check out how much money A24 makes, or one of these other big Hollywood studios. Yeah. Those petrochemical companies don't even come close to how much woke Hollywood makes. Look into it.
Totally sure.
Go to university.com.
Hypothesis on why some haven't. By the way, and the ones who haven't, man, they're like, it's a great time for business for comedians who just want to represent the truth, no matter who's speaking the hypocrisies. Yeah. And, I watched Ryan Long, Tyler Fisher, these guys who just shoot straight arrows and
straight arrows, baby.
And I think I love seeing a lot of people discover them.
Straight arrows.
There's not a lot of competition for unwoke comedians. Jim Brewer is certainly in that category.
Yes.
He's been huge for forever, though.
Jimmy B.
I opened for Jim Brewer at Caroline's in New York City probably
Jim Brewer
2002.
No kidding.
Another life.
Could you imagine if you were at that show and you had Dave Rubin opening for Jim Brewer? Big Jim, Hannibal or Just Rex, yes. Oh, man. That would have been unbelievable.
Time
ago. What a lineup.
He was taking bong hits in the green room before the show, and he hands me the bong, and I'm like, dude, this is it was like my first big break or something. I was like, I am not taking a bong hit before I walk out. And he crushed it. The guy was baked out of his mind. He absolutely crushed it.
What?
That's hilarious.
I didn't know Jim did
so the
weed.
title of the special is Please Censor This. And I thought that was particularly apropos because you launched on Locals, which obviously everyone knows. I started Locals as a wall, in essence, against big tech censorship. Did you think about releasing, exclusively on YouTube, or just there's a litany of places where?
Yeah, the Trusty Rusty acknowledging that was a great story from Dave Rubin. Yes, Dave Rubin's showbiz story, opening for Jim Brewer. Jim Brewer says, You want to smoke some weed? And Dave Rubin goes, no, I can't possibly. And then Jim Breuer smokes weed anyway, goes on stage and just kills it. Great story.
Where you could have done it, but you did it with us. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I thought about all the possibilities. And to be honest with you, Dave, for a while, I thought it was defeated. There was a lot of adversity to bring this special to the world and the times of censorship we live in.
Yep.
And I remember one of my best friends on the planet, he directed this special. His name's Brent Pella. He and I were in San Diego doing shows for a weekend late last year. And I said, bro, I'm ready to do a special. I want to. I don't think I can. Obviously, the typical places, Netflix is.
It's it's dangerous out there. If you're an anti-woke comedian, the wokes will kill you. A lot of people don't talk about that, but they'll kill you.
Amazon's, given the nature of the content I'm doing on stage, they're not going to have it. It's just way removed from the mainstream narrative. I couldn't even release it on YouTube for free if I wanted to. That would get my channel deleted like that. And then my friend, like a wise sage, he said, JP, do you know how much of an idiot you are? I said, kinda, but tell me more. And he said, you don't need a distributor. Like you've got a 6 million person audience. Quit thinking in the old paradigm. You are the distributor. So that really helped me open my eyes. And then along the way, the idea of like, well, let's reach out to locals and Rumble, see if we can do some kind of partnership to just get this thing out to the world. And that value alignment about what I stand for, what the comedy in this special represents, and what locals.
I'll Will 81 says, I can't believe Kill Tony went woke so they could get a Netflix deal. Yeah, that's sad. It's sad to see. I wouldn't think Kill Tony's been very, very anti-woke. It's sad to see that he was willing to be in the new Snow White movie just to get on Netflix. Crazy.
Represents. It's just that was perfect value alignment, and it's just been such a joy to get this special out to.
Is it the new Snow? No, I guess Snow White's Disney, so he must have been in a Netflix show. I think the rumor is that there's going to be a Netflix show coming out where in the middle of the show, it might be Stranger Things season 10, and in episode 5, I think that Kill Tony just comes out and they just do a big panel segment with all the cast of Stranger Things, and he just roasts them. And then David Lucas just says, look at these bitch ass monsters, and just roasts all the monsters. So lots to look forward to in entertainment coming down the pipe.
The world, I think, in a beautiful way. If I did it completely independently, had some sort of weird servers in my garage to house the special, and I'm screwing stuff up, I would have been proud to do that, but it's just great to get it out with a very established, beautiful platform that actually brings the community together. I love that aspect. That's been such a great bonus.
JP's got a lot of saliva gathering in his mouth. I don't know if you could notice that. I noticed it. That's when you have the amount of red meat and supplements that this guy does, it really creates a very manly amount of very strong mucus production. So good to see he's healthy.
Oh, well, I'm thrilled to hear that. I mean, and that's exactly what it's all about. We want people that have audiences, whether they're comedians or actors or politicians or shoe salesmen. We want them to be able to reach their people, and we just give you the tools to do it, and then you go from there. Are you like completely out of whatever would be considered the LA comedy world? I've cut ties with CAA. I have nothing to do with it anymore. Are you like just completely out of that world altogether?
Yeah, I
You guys know CAA? It's an acting agency, which I think means Cuckold Always Agency. I think that's the name of it. It's a big woke agency.
I would say I'm very much removed from the Hollywood world in the sense of I have nothing on my bucket list that involves Hollywood whatsoever. Occasionally I'll get people reaching out. They're doing an independent
anonymous
film
agency. Thank you,
Trusty. Consider a part in that. And and I'm willing to consider it because it's independent. There's not some big woke China-backed BS ESG entity behind it. So I'm
Yes, just as a disclaimer, we don't have any big woke China-backed ESG behind this channel. We are 100% independent. We are we function solely on community donations and supplement sales.
I love creativity, and I love what I stand for. So when there's value alignment, I'm willing to consider, an independent film, things like that. But the beautiful thing is life is so great. I get so much fulfillment connecting with people, releasing weekly videos, doing my stand-up, having my family. So there's
his monthly nut is paid for by his fans, which is the dream.
Nothing else that I need. And man, I'll tell you, it's so great to be completely unenslaved to the Hollywood system and those kind of powerhouses where you see what happens, what people do to themselves to stay in line. They sell their soul, they abandon their principles, and that's no way to live.
Preach, man.
No, and then we've done a bunch on him lately. You got guys like Jimmy Kimmel, who used to be politically incorrect and, doing all of that stuff. Carl Malone.
You see him laugh when he just mentions Jimmy Kimmel. It's like, oh, here we go, right? Oh man, nothing more hateable than Jimmy Kimmel is like, he's a comedian. You guys probably haven't heard of him because you guys don't probably consume woke media, but he's like a talk show host on ABC, which is a network. Stands for, I think, Always Be Cuckolding. And he's a comedian on that network, and he used to be cool. He used to host the Man Show. He used to be anti-woke, but now he's a big woke guy. Garble says, hello, this is China. You were doing a good job. Money well spent. China #1. No. That's a joke. Guys, that's a joke. That's a joke from Garble. That's just Garble. They're doing a bit. Garble, funny stuff. Garble doesn't work for China. We have nothing to do with China. Don't even make that joke. That's a very serious accusation. That's not China money. That was $5 Canadian. You guys, you see that? That's just a classic bait and switch joke. I'm glad I'm an explainer that I could explain that. We have no China money here.
Alone in blackface, etc. And now he's the most woke, politically correct person there is. It's a real flip on things.
Isn't it mind-boggling? And you mentioned Jimmy Kimmel, Howard Stern. I mean, these people
that's the one.
They gained admiration because of their balls and wittiness for standing up.
Yes. Howard Stern gained admiration because of his wittiness. Very famous Oscar Wilde-like talk show host on the radio, where he would have women pleasure themselves. Very funny stuff.
Against the establishment. Now, I'm not like stand up against the establishment just
now he's woke,
like corruption
which
of
is
the
like,
establishment, taking advantage of people, that kind of thing. But now you see these guys, they're like, oh, dude, these checks are pretty large. Maybe we'll become the establishment. It's just a weird mutation to see in front of our eyes.
And you see it with so many.
It's actually tragic how little money there is in right-wing media. I don't know how much Gutfeld makes, but it's probably nowhere near as much as what I make.
I mean, Sarah Silverman's another one. Like these people who were edgy. Like they went for, it's not just like, oh, I was kind of like out there a little. I'm talking like the fringe case edgy comedians who then became the most politically correct. I could do all day on that. Do you ever long for the old days of comedy? Like if you were to open up my YouTube on my TV, I'm watching old Johnny Carson.
It's interesting. It's interesting that they are saying they long for the old days, but at the same time, I would almost argue that, I mean, Kill Tony doesn't seem like a woke show, and the reason why I live here in Austin is because I'm signing up for Kill Tony's open mic every single night. Hasn't happened yet, but a lot of people are trying to get on Kill Tony show. And I wouldn't say, I mean, Kill Tony, I guess, is on Netflix now, which makes him woke. Everything moves so fast. It's hard to stay on top of what is woke and what's anti-woke. This is why it's important to spend a lot of time on Rumble.
Yeah. I'm watching all the legends of years long gone by. But the idea that you could do stand-up for a couple of years, you get that 5 minutes, you sit down with Carson, you get the sitcom. Like, there was something really nice to the machine, as beautiful as all this freedom is, where in our day, it's like, there is nobody to go to. There's nobody's that, I don't care to be on Kimmel or Colbert or anything else, which is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But there was a magic to it in a way.
Yeah, there's the nostalgia. That was the olden days, and I was never a professional comedian during that time. So it's just all looking back, and I think it's a cool time to reminisce about. But there's no part of me that wishes it was that day. Outside of like the cool moments, like if you got to sit down with Carson, like, dude, of course.
Danny Miranovic says, no, Dave doesn't want to be on those shows, but he could. Yeah, you're right, Danny. One call from Dave Rubin, and he could do the whole circuit. He'd have a Netflix special or an HBO special in a second, but he refuses. And all the Cucks Anonymous agency, all the people who work there are like constantly phoning Dave Rubin, like, Dave, the HBO wants to do your special, and he's like, I don't do woke, man.
Of course, like that's amazing. Yeah. But there was so much outsourced power then. Like, people couldn't take control of their own destiny. And I think self-responsibility is the greatest superpower people have. I think it's the most underutilized power in our country. People are waking up to it, luckily. But I love the idea of, like, now you take destiny in your own hands. If you work hard, you're consistent, you put stuff out online. If you're consistent with it and you have some level of DNA to actually do comedy, you will build an audience.
That's it. It's inevitable.
You will, whether it's big, small, fast, slow, that's a variable, but nobody needs to wait around being discovered by the industry anymore. So I just love the empowerment aspect of how it is today. And obviously censorship's a bit of a...
Yes. Good points about comedy. If you just put yourself out there and you are genetically predisposed to humor, you will find an audience. It's so true. It's just a matter of wanting it. It's like similar to what Andrew Tate was talking about at the beginning. If you imagine it and hope for it, it's actually pretty much a guarantee you're going to find yourself covered in gold and yacht girls. And it's just a matter of time. You just have to stick with it. I keep telling that to Brian. Brian is like, Myles, we've been doing this channel for, 25 years now. Like, when are we going to start to get all those piles of gold? And I'm like, Brian, you just have to imagine it is going to happen, and you stick with it. And you just have to picture the yacht girls. You got to picture the Ferrari coming down the street. It's going to happen. We live in the greatest country in the world. And as long as we don't go woke and we stick to our principles, it's going to happen for us. So it's just a matter of time. And look we've got all these lovely people watching us right now. It's been a big year for the channel. I've already put a deposit down on a Ferrari for 2 years from now.
Dragon in that, but
for the meanest looking Ferrari.
We have a lot of power in our hands, and I love it.
Yeah, and it's on you. And it's like, if you work harder and you get better at your craft, some good things will probably happen. Not always, but I'd rather it be on me than
Dave
on
says,
an agent.
Yeah, Dave says not always. Wow. I mean, come on, Dave. It's guaranteed.
Or on a machinery that I can't control. Let's jump off comedy for just a sec, because you are in Texas, but you are in the Austin area of Texas, the weird area. And when I talk to other people,
Rusty says, you know that JP Sears was a voice actor alongside Dave Rubin in the hit show called The New Norm. There was lots of great jokes in there that need explaining. Very good. I've never heard of that show, but that's a very good suggestion. I love to get suggestions for new stuff to explain. Trusty Rusty, if you're not in our Discord, please join our Discord and post that show, and I will look it up And I will study it.
From Texas, let's say my friends at the Blaze over in Dallas, they often wonder what the high hell's going on in Austin. So what is it like to be in a sort of blue-ish area in a state that hopefully is about to go even redder? We'll see what happens over the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, redder the better, in my opinion. And that's not just my Ginger Lives Matter politics talking, Dave.
By the way, the hair matching the flag behind you, really.
Thank you.
Point.
Great observation, Dave.
In America, it sucked to be born in Ukraine with incompatible flag colors. I love Austin. Austin has some of the best people who are purpose-driven, soulful, and really going after their dreams and contributing to a better world. Now, there's certainly some leftist stuff about how the city of Austin is run that I don't agree with, and you certainly get some, plenty of eyes glazed over, mass formation, psychosis addicts.
Yeah, Austin is a wonderful city, especially if you want to try to kill Tony. But there's a bit of a woke mind virus there. A lot of people there succumbed to the virus. They haven't been able to get the proper medicine yet. So prayers for Austin.
But, I actually kind of like that, Dave, because I think maybe we all want to live in an echo chamber, but one of the worst things for us would be to just live in an echo chamber. So true diversity, in my opinion, is having a diversity of perspectives. And I like that. But at the same time, because Austin is in Texas, there's plenty of like-minded people. I've talked to people all over the country, and one of the biggest pains that folks report is, I feel like I'm the only one. Someone living in San Francisco, Portland. So there's a lot.
Sorry for any of you in the chat who live in these woke cities and feel like the woke mind virus is around you all the time, which they spread by wearing masks. It seems counterintuitive, but it's true. Masks spread the woke mind virus. Lamp lives in Portland. So sorry to hear that. I hope JP Sears comes and does a show for probably just yourself, but what a good show that would be.
Of community here, and a few months
Disco
ago, we
has the only Cybertruck in
about
Portland.
an hour outside of Austin. So now we're in real Texas.
Thank you, Trusty Rusty.
So it's just, if someone drives by, we were just in downtown, the town where we live, in a coffee shop, and someone drove by with a "Vote for Beto" bumper sticker. And it's just so cool how, dude, that's shocking. We saw that out here. Someone driving by with a big Trump bumper sticker in downtown Portland.
It's funny because I'm here in Florida, which is obviously it's DeSantis country, DeSantis stand, depending on who you talk to. And there's one guy in my neighborhood with a Charlie Chris sign, and it's like it actually, of course, it kind of seems funny to me, but I keep thinking one day I'm going to be walking my dog, and I want to meet this person because what could possibly be going on in their head to live in the freest place and not want that freedom? However, I respect their.
Florida's the freest place. Yeah, what a wild. It's strange. They're saying they don't want to live in an echo chamber, but they are kind of disturbed when they see someone with a different opinion because they're like, again, that it is important to not live in an echo chamber because you want to meet these mentally ill fucking morons that believe in other things, right? And you want to it's interesting sometimes to get to how did they get so mentally damaged? Why are they subhuman scum? Why do I want to kill them so badly? And it's good to reach out and talk to them about that and be like, why are you like this? Because then you can learn why you really hate them so much, and then you can double down.
Desire, of course, to vote however they wish.
Yeah, man, I like to understand cool, why? One of my best friends, we were sitting around election night about 2 years ago, and we're just talking hey, here's who I voted for, and just one person out of the group said, yeah, I voted for Biden.
Whoa.
And it was so cool to just want to understand him.
Yeah, like why would you vote for Biden? I would really like to know, like maybe get a doctor to like crack their skull open and like look at their brain. Like why would you vote for that? When everything points to not
And
being
it was a beautiful,
strange
connective
activity.
conversation, and we didn't agree, but that didn't mean we had to divide or not like each other. It was very interesting to learn, oh, that's why you voted for Biden. By the way, talk to him now, and he's like, dude, I regret it.
Yeah. Okay, so he came around.
Him along with apparently 81 million other people. I think a
Nice,
lot of
yeah.
us, I don't know if all 81, but
Good call back to the election results there.
In terms of doing comedy for, let's say, a more conservative or libertarian-minded crowd, do you find that there are rails that you can't touch on that side that maybe you wish you could touch, but you can't quite get to because of maybe more religious issues, that kind of thing?
You know, I'm sure there's rails, but I haven't hit them yet. You know, just recently, I've really noticed, especially in
Yeah, you're gonna be fine with a non-woke crowd. You can literally say anything to a non-woke crowd, and they'll love it because they love freedom. Just don't suggest a living wage, because that's basically like saying the N-word in front of a bunch of woke people, suggesting, fair pay.
my stand-up,
Don't do it.
I'm shifting the material, release a special and now generate a lot of new material. And I'm shifting the material from doing sometimes bashing the left as a butt of jokes to now it's much more self-deprecating of a conservative, libertarian-minded person, which is great. I mean, I love to honor what I love by making fun of it. And also it's like, if you can't laugh at yourself, you've got problems.
Yes.
So as I'm doing that, I haven't found the rails yet. Though in the past, I can say
Make sure, though, when you make this is great advice. This is great advice, and take it to heart. But it is important when you're making fun of yourself. You want to kind of do it in a humble, braggy sort of way. You want to be like, "Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I forgot the name of the pilot of my private jet," or "My favorite Rolex fell off the counter because I was too drunk on cognac, and I'm such a moron." It's good to kind of incorporate achievements into making fun of yourself.
And before I got into politics, I'm doing stand-up, and I would do some level of Jesus kind of joke. There, you can tell, like, all right, there's some folks who that was a hot button for them, and maybe it came across disrespectfully. Maybe it was just a good joke and they didn't like it. I don't know. But the past experiences, I think the religious piece probably is the biggest challenge when it comes to the conservative crowd to, dance well with, as opposed to just offend.
Yeah,
you're going to want to if it comes to religious stuff, just stick to making fun of Muslims. It's much easier that way. You want to punch up.
Super interesting, because obviously my credentials and biography are not fully in line with, say, what a conservative audience would be showing up to. And yet I get nothing but love from these people. And even when I get close to whatever that line might be, or say something that makes them a little bit uncomfortable that they haven't thought about before, it's like, it's all good. There really is a sense of like, it's all good. We get that we can all be a little bit different, and it's okay.
Yeah. And I would guess with people who watch you, see you, and same with me, they're watching us because they already know us. They love us. They appreciate us.
Nice.
So there's already a big rapport built out of the countless videos of yours they've seen. So there's that trust, as opposed to just a comedian fresh off the street going into the showroom. The audience doesn't know who they are. Less trust. So they can probably get away with less because they just don't know exactly where that person's heart is.
Yeah. No, it's true. The best thing to do, and I think I've mentioned this in our Jokes Explored series, before you do stand-up, it's important to have a huge audience. This way, when you're doing stand-up, they already like you. They already think you're funny. You don't really have to rely on writing jokes to build that fan. You could just already have people that like you, and they'll just laugh. They'll be ready to laugh as soon as you walk out, and you don't have to take that risk.
But they know where your heart is. They know where my heart is.
J Mac,
How
we
many
are
years
lucky.
did you spend grinding through the clubs? I did it for a long time, man. I started in May of '98, right after college, a week after graduating college, and I was doing stand-up for at least a decade, like 6 nights a week. And then the last couple of years before I left New York, then I was a little bit less.
Wow, David Rubin was a real hungry wolf back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. 6 nights a week of stand-up for 10 years. Are there any math people here? Or as Greg Gutfeld would say, are there any Asians here? So that would be like a racial stereotype joke. We're not doing bingo anymore, so I guess I didn't have to do that one. But I got Gutfeld on the mind, so that would be something that would be great that he would say. But what is 6 times 10 years? 310 weeks of comedy. That's a lot of comedy shows. And you guys saw me do Dave Rubin Explained. It shows, right? I assume he did crowd work thousands of times, and that's how he was so dialed in when he did crowd work on his Hot Gay Comics show.
Started getting into podcasting. I saw the new frontier developing, eventually moved out to LA, now back here. But how many years were you like in the grind of, you're one of 10 on the show, they don't know who you are, by the time you get going, you got to get off stage, etc.?
0.
Zero? Wow. I admire that.
I took, I so don't recommend, but here's the route I took. I got known on YouTube and just online videos first. So the audience was built up, and then I got...
Banana Cat did the math. 6 nights a week, 520 weeks, 3,120 times. So take that. Imagine that, right? That's how much comedy you have to do to be as good as Dave Rubin. So before you start comedy, keep that number in mind.
Got into
it's a lot of shows.
And I had already sort of been doing a bit of stand-up before I knew it, because once I started getting known, different conferences would come in, hire me to come in and speak. And they're like, why don't you do some comedy? I'm like, well, cool, that makes sense. So I was practicing it for a while without having it in the frame of my mind as stand-up. And so as I was starting stand-up, I already had an audience. And here's what I don't...
Pink Shaman says, props to Myles and Brian for their stream stamina. Yeah. It's getting along here. I mean, this is a deep conversation. I thought these two huge comics would have more funny riffs between, but these guys are just being very serious. And this is like a real good insight into the mind of comedians. They're not always totally funny. Sometimes they just want to talk shop and talk about, how right now there's never been a better time to be a comedian because you can develop your own audience, but also there's never been a worse time to be a comedian because the wokes have taken over. So contradictory stuff, which allows you to make your own opinion.
Recommend. I just jumped into the deep end because I didn't know any better. It's like, all right, let's start headlining shows now. And I'm doing 5 shows in this city rather than just starting slow. So it was very stressful. And also, like, looking back at my beginning stand-up, I'd say, like, I'm pretty embarrassed about it.
I mean, everybody is of their old stuff. That's how it is.
Of course. So it was good,
Dave, your stuff's all
to
good.
give people a value, and they had love. It was great. But the stand-up sucked. So luckily, though, it was probably just barely good enough that it wasn't a complete train wreck, because jumping into the deep end, starting to headline pretty much right away, it's not the recommended course of action. If that gets derailed, it's sort of like,
just a couple old road dogs talking shop.
Project failed.
Some good insight, guys.
So I had a bit of a unique route, which again, I don't recommend. And honestly, I didn't know how normal comedians like started. Like, I wasn't listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, how he talks about it. I was just ignorance is bliss, and here's the way it's suggested to be by some team members. And I was like, all right, let's do that.
You know, it's so funny how everyone's story is a little bit different because so when I started, Carson had retired.
This is so funny because like, so JP Sears is like the new kind of comedian. You can tell because he's a lot younger than Dave Rubin. He is like a new generation comic, and he started out by being viral online. I think like reacting to Minecraft videos. And then Dave Rubin was like the traditional hungry wolf out there doing 3,000 shows, working on the craft, writing the jokes, doing the crowd work, out there with the Slayers, tough crowd with Colin Quinn. He was out there in the streets doing it. And JP, he struggled because he was just a viral sensation. So this is really interesting to see two masters who started in different ways, talking about how their careers are so different. Really good insight into stand-up comedy here.
Already, so Leno took over, but Leno wasn't putting comics on the way Carson was. And I saw all of these guys that I was coming up with that all wanted to get on the Tonight Show. And I was like, but he's not really putting anybody on the Tonight Show. He's not making stars the way Carson is. And then because of that, after a couple of years, I heard about this thing called a podcast. I didn't even know what it was. I kid you not, did not know how to download. I didn't even know what it was. That was on the phone. I wasn't even sure. But I had a guy who knew something about audio, and I started doing a little podcast early on, and I think I just followed that path. So everyone, either you become the YouTube star first and then you figure it out after, or you just do it any which way. I guess that gets to your freedom point of doing something for yourself.
Yeah, you know, it's with great freedom.
This is an interesting trajectory, right? Interesting what Dave Rubin's describing here, right? So it's like he did an interesting kind of inverted route, which is it's very common. So he tried stand-up for 10 years, did 3,000 shows, didn't have that much success doing stand-up. So he decided, I'm going to start a podcast. And then his podcast got big. And then after the podcast gets big, it's time to go back to stand-up. And that's a very common, totally valid route. There's a lot of comedians these days that tried stand-up, were absolute dog shit at it, grew their podcast audience, and then went back to stand-up with fans that didn't care that they were totally dog shit. And it's a wonderful thing to see. It's a good ecosystem. It's a perfect pipeline, and because podcasting teaches you a lot about you don't have to do stand-up in the traditional sense. When you come back to stand up for a podcast, you could talk about stories from your podcast, and then people remember it and they laugh, and it's perfect. So it's, again, we're in a golden era slash age of comedy right now.
Freedom comes great responsibility, and it's liberating, and it's also scary. You know, the scary part is there's no definitive structure that you need to walk on, so there's less security, there's less predictability,
I don't know how this can make you sleepy. This is like watching two successful guys talk about their path to success. This is nothing's more exciting.
Probably a fair bit more having to figure it out, and therefore probably make a lot of errors and mistakes. What year did you start the podcast?
I started in 98, May of 98.
Dave Rubin started his podcast in 1998. That's when podcasts started? Are you serious? I didn't know we had pods back then. Wow.
You were doing a podcast in 98.
Oh, no. It started stand-up, sorry. Stand-up May of 98. And then I started the podcast, my first podcast, probably 2006, something like that. Like
that makes more sense.
Still unbelievable. I didn't even have the internet at home in 2006. You did a podcast.
It was why I had a microphone, this big machine on the desk. I don't know what the hell I was doing. And then suddenly I was getting emails, and people were like, I'm listening to it. I did not even know how to put it on my own phone.
Yeah, this is good advice. You guys should start a podcast. If you guys are interested in that, start a podcast in 2006. That's a good investment idea. You guys should also buy a house in 2006 as well. If you haven't done that, get on that.
I kid you not.
House and a podcast.
What do you make about, so obviously this, are we posting this before or after the election? I'm talking to my guys while we're... This is either going up before or after this coming election, but we're taping it before in full transparency. Okay, so I'm just told we're posting this after, but we're taping this before the election. What do you make of the general temperature of the country right now?
Temperature? Why are they talking about weather? I mean, that's crazy. Come on, guys. Let's get to the funny. This is killing me. Sorry.
Not out there like,
but
you
like,
owe me
I want to hear
this,
some. I gotta
this is
explain
the
some
power
jokes
I
here.
want over you. I think whether he knew it or not, he did some of that child work.
Yeah.
That inner child stuff, you know?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. And DeSantis served in the military, so he's got perspective of what really matters.
DeSantis
I
was in the
don't know his
military?
exact military field experiences, but he's probably had things.
I didn't know he
put
was a
in
war hero.
perspective. And I think when people have things put into perspective, you know, for me, having my son was a big piece of that. You
like Dalia.
realize how much power and control.
Online VCR with the Raider, raiding the stream at the absolute lull.
Compared to the current.
Thank you for the raid, online VCR. Welcome all of the online VCR viewers. If you guys are up for a chill end of this stream, we're just watching JP Sears and Dave Rubin, two big old comics, talking about their origin stories and how Dave Rubin started a podcast in 2006.
Currency of connection, contribution, joy, I mean, hell, even laughter for that matter. So some of my favorite politicians are the ones that don't want to be politicians. They're called to do it in order to serve.
JP, I give you my word that locals will never censor you. That's number one. Number
Love
two,
these
we're going
guys.
to link to the special right down below. And this will either go down as a great interview or a completely haywire interview, depending on what happens during the election.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think that was a great interview or a completely haywire interview? That was pretty off the rails. It was hard to keep my eyes open because of the amount of craziness going on during that interview. Great stuff. Very funny. Very funny stuff from Dave Rubin, JP Sears. Let's just look at these two goofballs. They couldn't look more opposite, but they're such good friends. One guy looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter, and the other guy looks like Dave Rubin, the guy who started a podcast in 2006. Oh, what a way to end the stream with a very funny interview by two comics. This has been a very motivational stream, this Rumble Explained. We started out with Andrew Tate describing how you should, he got into being rich by seeing a rich guy blast through his neighborhood in a Ferrari and display his wealth, when Andrew Tate was just a simple British orphan growing up with nothing, saw a rich guy and was inspired to become rich himself. Whereas opposed to, you've got this guy. Sorry, I got confused by Brian here. Welcome, folks. We have no idea what we're doing, and we will not have the ability to rate another person because the only other person we know is online VCR. Brian, we know more people than that. Hannibal or Just Rex, $1 for all 7 genders that I assume the dwarves on Snow White have. I haven't seen it, but I'm still upset over woke making the movie bad. Yeah, you know what? That's the right response to have. First of all, thank you for all $7. I think that is the correct amount of genders. They probably each have their own woke gender assigned to them from the Disney Corporation, which of course is just assigning be careful out there, guys, because if Disney comes knocking and assigns you a gender, just say no. Just say, no thanks, I am straight. And if you're a guy, light up a cigar. And if you're a girl, just show that you're doing the laundry. And that will affirm your rights. Because they're coming. They're coming for us, and they're trying to assign genders. And it's they got a lot of money. Big woke is out there on patrol in the streets, assigning genders, bringing in immigrants. There's a huge problem. But yeah, I was talking about this whole stream has been very motivational. We had Andrew Tate at the beginning talking about how you should watch more videos. And if you guys aren't watching videos on Instagram of really wealthy people on their yachts with their yacht girls or on their private jets, follow them on Instagram. Follow people like that. Follow Dan, what's his name? Bill Zarian. Follow Bert Kreischer. Follow Tom Segura. These are rich guys, and they often are showing how rich they are. And when you guys see that, you're going to be motivated to make that kind of money. So I highly suggest hanging out with those guys, watching their stream, or just imagining you're hanging out with those guys. And then we end the stream with a story of two comedic titans, JP Sears and Dave Rubin, comedy titans, and they're opposite but equally important coming up stories. Dave Rubin, Hungry Wolf, doing 3,000 comedy shows before he finally decides he should stop and just do a podcast, which was perfect decision for him. Similar to myself, I did 3,000 shows before I decided I should stop and just explain the jokes of all my favorite comics, and it's been so much more successful for me. JP Sears, opposite story, starts out on YouTube, then transitions to trying stand-up for the first time, which is going to be Brian's path when we do the Madison Square Garden show. I love the suggestion of a Madison Square Garden show. I think what I'm going to do, instead of investing in the stock market with this week's donations, maybe I'll put it towards renting Madison Square Garden a couple years from now, just to put that pressure on myself to make sure that we have the show ready to go. I've had some loose plans for a show I'd like to do at MSG. I've thought of the comics I'd like to have on it to open for the show. I'd like to have David Lucas come out. I think I'd like to have Bert Kreischer's pretty expensive. I could probably have a Bert Kreischer look-alike. Just take his shirt off. We might not have the budget to hire a lot of comics, so I might just have AI. Welcome, Johnny Bishop. Thank you for subscribing to the Bash the Music. I might just have an AI create the show, and we'll just project like a Bert Kreischer hologram on the stage, and he'll just do the machine story. Maybe we'll bring back Tupac with a hologram. That would be pretty cool. And then I'll come on at the very end, and I'll play the piano. Brian, maybe me and Brian will do like a little duo act where Brian does stand up, and I relentlessly roast him for being totally shit at it. And I'll call him a bitch ass for an hour and 30 minutes while you guys all relentlessly boo him, but all in good fun. And then I'll say, thanks for not being woke, you guys. And then you guys will all cheer with a blood-curdling scream. And then I'll announce my run for presidency, and we'll get the nomination, and I'll lead America into the future by privatizing every single national agency and just letting Jeff Bezos run everything under the office of the president, and everything will be so efficient. Corn Pop won't stop. Do we get any sweet metal, very straight guitar licks? Of course, Brian will be on there on the drop D, doing guitar licks the whole time. Well, maybe we'll do like a woke mind virus exorcism on the stage. We'll find, maybe if you guys have any relatives or friends that have succumbed to the woke mind virus, we'll bring them out on stage. I'll have Jim Baker there, and we'll exorcise the mind virus out of them. I'll put cigars in their mouth until they finally repent, and maybe they'll puke Bud Light everywhere when the woke mind virus finally leaves their body. And yeah, that sounds like a good show. I think it's already coming together. So maybe we'll be doing that. But yeah, what should I plug, Brian? What should I plug? We got free episodes on our Patreon. You guys can check out. Just join the Patreon as a free member and watch the redacted files, the redacted episodes we've got on there. We've done people who were removed from YouTube. We got our Discord. You guys can join and suggest stuff for me to watch on stream and react to. Looks like we've already got a new suggestion coming up soon. Don't forget, you guys, there's invest in the stock market this week. It looks like we've hit the bottom, so it's going to be going up soon as these tariffs fully take effect. It's going to be nothing but green town, baby. So please donate to the stream and also buy U.S. stocks and bonds. Those are the two best investments you can make this week. Of course, these aren't investment advice. This is not investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a joke explainer. I can only explain jokes. I can't explain financial decisions. But, buy what I tell you to buy. And what else have we got here? We've got a lot of power of fellas. You all aboard the gravy train. Buy war bonds. Yes, buy war bonds. Thank you, Satella Disco. And thank you guys for watching the stream and hanging out for these couple hours. I'll be back soon, for sure on Friday, to do the Jokes Explained stream. I'll find a comedian we can watch. Me and Brian are working on Jokes Explored and Jokes Explained episodes as we speak. So there'll be more of those coming out very, very soon. Bless you all. Keep rumbling. Keep rambling. Don't forget, if you guys see a Ferrari blast through your neighborhood, don't curse them. Aspire to them. And that's what I'll be doing. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next stream. Thank you all for hanging out. See you soon. Love you all. And get out there and get rich.